How's everybody doing today? We're going to talk about Cartesian divers, some simple things you could do at your house. Now, this is a classic experiment. It's done with ketchup packets. Now, if you go to restaurants, drive-through only probably, or carry-out, if you have opportunity to get some ketchup packets, get some. And if you have opportunity to get soy sauce packets or mustards in packets or other things in packets, get some. So the idea is if I'm in a swimming pool and I lie down flat on my back and spread out my weight, I'm spread out all my weight across a large surface and I might float. Now, I'm going to try to get this ketchup packet to float. So if I kind of spread it out a little bit and put it in some water, it might float. It's great. And sometimes when you put them up and down, they'll float, but a little bit harder. And you might want to find a ketchup packet that just barely floats for this experiment. Now, if it sinks all the way down to the bottom, that's no good. Just use that on food. Okay? Now, you get one of these, and here's the idea. If this is squeezed together in a little ball like this, chances are it might sink in the water. Sit down at the bottom. Now, if it spreads out, it might float. So, I happen to go and drink a 2-liter bottle full of pop. I took the label off. I filled it up with some water. Now, I'm going to squeeze this bottle, and this top is really tight, because when you squeeze the bottle, if it's not tight, water will spray all over your face, and that's a different show. If I squeeze here, I'll have air and water pushing onto that ketchup packet, making it shrink down, and then it might sink. Now, real Cartesian divers were designed for building things like, the Brooklyn Bridge. And that's where Mr. Rolling, who's the engineer, he got all the way down the bottom of the river, and they're digging out the mud, trying to get to the rock. They climbed to the top of the river through some stairs, went up and down. He got the bends. He had bubbles in his bloodstream, and it made him really sick, and it kind of paralyzed him. And actually, his wife finished that job at the Brooklyn Bridge. So they came up with the idea of pushing a bunch of air into a big container and allow the people to go down the bottom of the river and kind of dig up the mud, and they brought him up. And that was really what a Cartesian diver is. But a Cartesian diver is designed to go down to the bottom, up to the top. And it's all based on air pressure differences. Now, this is have air pressure and water pressure, but when I push here, that's going to like shrivel up and shrink. If I push here, it's going to go down to the bottom. I lift up, it goes to the top. And that's really fun. You can have a game with this. This is a fun little thing that any kid can do. All right? So that's an easy thing. It's called a Cartesian diver, and that's with ketchup packets. The other thing is we're going to talk about air. Air is around us all the time. And if you happen to have a party balloon and a can, you can make something. Now let's talk about a balloon. You blow up the balloon a little bit. There's air inside. Now air pushes up, down, left and right, equally and opposite. At sea level, it's 14.2 pounds per square inch. And I live in Chicago area, and we're pretty close to sea level. We're about 540 feet above it, which is pretty close. Now I can illustrate that. If I poke this balloon with something sharp over here, air push up. If I push here, air push down. If I poke here, air pushes this way. If I poke here, air pushes this way. You get the idea. Now, there's air all around us in the atmosphere. And the air has something to do with the weather, right? It can bring in rain and clouds and sometimes dry air. And if it's a sunny day, we might want to know that ahead of time so we can put on shorts and t-shirts. If it's going to rain, we might want to know that too. It turns out when air pressure is really great, a lot of air pressure, it kind of pushes away clouds. And so it'd be sunny. That'd be great. Sunny and usually dry. And if air pressure is really low, the clouds kind of come in. So I happen to have a can. Now it's hollow. I've already eaten my stuff from the can. And I took my balloon and I just cut off this part of the balloon. I'm going to cut right here so you can see. And I'm going to put my fingers into the part of my balloon, right here, and stretch it out. You stretch it out and you put it right over the can. And I got a piece of cardboard. On the piece of cardboard, I put some lines on it. Okay, there's lines up there. And then I got some toothpicks, again from all the restaurants. So, this is it, kind of put together. And I have a little Scotch tape to hold this toothpick down. And if air pressure outside is really great, it'll push down on this little drum of a can. The air pressure outside will be greater than the air pressure inside. And this is what happens. It'll point up. And you can tell how much is going up because you made a little gauge here. If you see that, hey, it's going to be sunny. And if you found the air going the other way around and low, and this is more air pressure in the can than it is outside, this points down, chances there'll be rain. So what you can do is you can put this on a shelf, maybe in your garage or maybe outside on the windowsill, and you kind of look at it, and it'll actually change up and down. I did this a long time ago, and I left one in my car because I was going to do science workshops, and I had one kind of my demo in the car. And sure enough, I was just staring at it in a car. I just saw it going down and down and down. And then I looked up at the sky, clouds were coming, and I knew it was going to rain very, very soon. And I knew that because my barometer showed it to me before I even looked up and noticed what was going on. It really, really works. So I hope you enjoy that little science you can do at your house with simple things. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.